The following program is a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and are not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elder Answers. This is the show where we get together every week and we discuss the major issues facing seniors in the United States today. Hi, everybody. This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center, where every week we get together and we discuss issues, different items of interest for seniors and for the people taking care of seniors. And this information, these inquiries, these questions come to us typically from the listeners or the people who attend our workshops. And these questions come up over and over again, and they're not questions that are easily answered because this is really confusing stuff. But it really breaks down into certain areas, and these are the same basic areas that the California Elder Law Center works so hard to protect you and your family and to put something together that'll make a lot of sense for you, both in terms of the level of services that we can provide, but even more importantly, I think sometimes it's the connection to other service providers that can really make a difference in your life. Having sources of information, starting off, information, and then being able to get that information in an unbiased format that you can understand that's accurate. It has to be accurate. And once you have that, then you can start making really good decisions for yourself. And the decisions that you're making really resolve around the major issues in your life, don't they? And the major issues in your life are oftentimes best illustrated, I guess, is the best way to put it, with the results that come to us through focus groups done over and over again around the country by different polling organizations, by different people that are doing academic studies on the issues of seniors. What are the driving motivations for seniors in the United States? First of all, when I'm talking about a senior, I'm talking about somebody that is age 65 on up. Age 65 on up. Now, so many people age 65 on up today are working. They continue to work. They continue to work because they want to. They continue to work because they have their health and they can work. And they continue to work because they need the money. They need the money. And so as you look through this issue of dealing with seniors in the United States, the best place to start is to figure out how many there are, what's going on, and where are the trends that are coming ahead? Where are the imperatives going to be in our society? Because if you're starting to enter into that group, and I would say when you reach age 60, you better have your antenna up and be ready to start doing some planning. You better get into the game at age 60. That's when you should be doing it. And interestingly enough, so many people in our office come to us because, A, they're dealing with the issue of their parents. That's right. The 60-year-old is the adult child of the 85-year-old. And as a result, what ends up happening is they've been suddenly cast in the role of being the caregiver, of taking over, of trying to patch everything together, trying to figure it out, which in many cases sort of flies in the face about what people say when they go into these focus groups about what's important to them. It's sort of interesting, isn't it? And I think the reason for it is not that they're being irresponsible or they're not watching what they're doing. I think the real reason for it is that it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work for people to wrap their head around the fact of, am I going to be doing something today at age 60 that's going to bail me out and save my bacon when I'm 75? And the answer is you're probably well advised to do exactly that. You're probably very well advised to start thinking about that because there are choices out there for you that you have now. And as you age, you start to lose your choices. Your choices are taken away from you. Now, when they sit down and talk about this issue, this is what we're looking down the barrel of in the United States today. Every day, 10,000 people in the United States turn age 65. Of those 10,000 people, 7,000 of them are going to need some kind of long-term care during the course of their lives. This trend is going to continue for the next 10 years. Over 35 million people will be entering into their senior years. And of that group, about 24, 25, 26 million of them are going to need some kind of long-term care. That's a lot of people that need a lot of care, and they are probably well advised to have a lot of money set aside to pay for that care, because this care is going to get more and more expensive every day. And why wouldn't it? When I first started doing elder law in the Southern California area 25 years ago, the average cost of being in a nursing home was $2,400 a month. Today, it's over $9,000 a month, $9,334 to be exact. And the new numbers will be coming out, and it'll be pushing $10,000 a month. $10,000, $120,000 a year if you need that kind of care. And so this is an issue that you're really well advised to at least get yourself educated to and have some kind of a plan as far as being cared for at home or in assisted living or in a nursing home. Now, as people age in the United States, what's going on is because they've all had access to Medicare, wonderful health insurance. Medicare has been a blessing to seniors in the United States. It's kept more of them alive longer and living better lives than any time in history. Now, what comes along with that is longevity. And longevity has cast so many elderly individuals into harm's way when it comes to neurological diseases. That's why the Alzheimer's Association fights so hard for you, works so hard, has so many projects trying to raise money so they can come up with some kind of an analysis, hopefully someday some kind of a cure, but we're a long ways away from that. And so what we have to be more cognizant of is, how do we take care of a senior during that phase of their lives? How do we take care of a senior with Parkinson's disease? The Parkinson's Association, Parkinson's Resource Organization, these different organizations, Stroke Association, they're all desperately trying to come up with some kind of a way to help you down the road medically. But when it hits you, it doesn't have the kind of a fuse on it that you can wait a year or two till you get around to it. The imperative has been delivered to your doorstep. So here's what all seniors always say. When they have a focus group with seniors and they ask them, what's the 10 most important things to you personally? What are the things that really, really are important as far as you are concerned personally for you? Interestingly enough, the top 3 issues always come out the same. There's no variation on this. Focus group after focus group after focus group. And interestingly, this is what they are. 1, everybody wants to stay at home. I want to stay in my home. This is my recliner. That's my remote. That's my cat. I'm not moving out of my chair. Everybody wants to stay in their home. And yet, the statistics say that's not how it's going to work out, because 80% of Americans pass away in institutions. They pass away in assisted livings. They pass away in board and cares. They pass away in hospitals. They pass away in nursing homes. 80%, 8 out of 10. So of that 10,000 people every day who turn 65, 8,000 of them are not going to be able to be at home. They're going to pass away somewhere else, but mostly because, not because it's an imperative or it's a law, it's mostly because they didn't take care of business when they were 60 in order to get right so when they're 80. Now, I know that's quite a leap of faith for a lot of people, but believe me, you can impact that situation if you plan ahead. You can get in control of that situation. You do not have to die staring at the ceiling and fluorescent light bulbs. You don't have to live like that. But you have to do something to make sure it doesn't end up that way. What's the second thing everybody says? What's the second thing that is the most important to everybody is, I don't want to go broke. I don't want to be a bag lady. And yet we're faced with this issue of the enormous cost, $120,000 a year to be in a nursing home, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to be in an assisted living facility, maybe $60,000, $70,000 to be in a memory care unit, not because we want to be there, but because that's the card we drew out of the medical deck. And as a result, we need that level of care, and we need to be in a situation, even if we are at home, bringing somebody in the home is going to cost us $5,000, $6,000 a month if you're talking about 8-hour shifts. And so if we're doing that, if that's our process, then we have to figure out how we're going to pay for that. And the third thing everybody says this, is that I don't want to be a burden on my children. I don't want to be a burden on my family. I don't want to deliver my woes to the doorstep of my kids. And yet, when you think about this, if you have not taken care of this issue and dealt with it ahead of time, is you are going to go broke. You're not going to be able to stay at home. And you are going to be quite a burden on your kids. Because if you haven't done it, who do you think is going to do it? 85% of the time, 85% of the time in our office, we are not talking to you, the client. We're talking to your kids because something didn't get taken care of. We're talking to your wife. We're talking to your wife or your children, trying to scramble and put all this together and figure out what's next. And the reason that everybody's in that quandary and running around in crisis is because something has happened. Somebody has gone to the hospital. Somebody has gone to rehab. Somebody is now in long-term care. And what happened, we just sort of got swept along here. The events took over, not the decisions. And yet, if we had like a 3-year trust put in place, if we had taken care of some other issues, we might be sitting at home right now. We might be safely in our home or in a beautiful assisted living or a memory care unit and not struggling with these issues or delivering to the doorsteps of our children.
Here's elder law attorney Michael McGuire inviting you to the next Elder Answers workshop, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
It's easy to get to. It's located right on the corner of Gerald Ford and Cook, right in the heart of the desert in Palm Desert. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about veterans benefits. How do you access up to $25,000 a year tax-free for veterans so that they can pay for care at home? They can pay for care in an assisted living or in a board and care. And here's the best part. There is money available, over $14,000 a year, tax-free for the spouse of a veteran, the surviving spouse of a veteran. You don't want to miss this information because it can really make a difference in your life. How do you pay for the care that you need and not go broke doing it? Well, I'll tell you how you do it. You understand the benefits that are available to you, and that's what we're going to be talking about at the workshop. And don't forget, Vietnam veterans, you want to be here too. Lots of information specifically for Vietnam veterans and how you can access your benefits and what you need to do, what you need to know to do that.
Reserve now for one of the next Elder Answers workshops, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Call 760-422-0404. Workshops take place at the Hampton Inn, Cook and Gerald Ford in Palm Desert. Reserve now at 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404.
So this is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center. You know, we're talking about really thinking ahead, doing a little planning here. Now, I know everybody is sitting there thinking, oh, man, I've heard this 1,000 times. I don't know if I want to do this or not. Well, I certainly don't want to do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. That's great. That's fine. And as Mike Tyson, my all-time favorite philosopher, would say, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And after that punch in the face, all of a sudden the plan dissipates, disappears, flies out the window, and now you're left with nothing but the reality of what has happened. Let's break this down a little bit. I want to stay at home. I want to stay at home. Staying at home is what everybody wants. Everybody wants to be in that protected environment. Everybody wants to be in the comfort of their home. Everybody wants to experience their home as their sanctuary. And I am dedicated to the proposition of doing everything that's possible to keep a person in the home. Our clients I think probably stay in their homes more and longer than just about anybody I know. One of the reasons for that is because we have been encouraging them to investigate different avenues of funding for their care. Now, it's not just the coming up with the money. That's not the only issue here. The issue that we face here so often is that it may be somebody who just simply can't be at home. I mean, husband and wife, they're both in their late 80s. It's just untenable for her to try to be taking care of him. And I say that her-him proposition in that sequence because so many times that's really what's going on. And the reason it's going on like that is because he's probably older than she is. So there's a difference in their ages. Men tend to marry women that are younger than they are. Now, women also have a longer life expectancy for men. And so the fact of the matter is that women typically are going to be alone at the end of their lives. Now, we don't have to guess about this. We know this is pretty much a fact. The way we know it is the marriage statistics. At age 85, 85% of men are married. At age 85, 13% of women are married. Now, what that means is that women are alone. And what it also means is that men have caregivers sitting across the kitchen table from them, and women don't. Women, late in their lives, have been cast in the role of being a caregiver. And so when you come to one of our workshops, we're going to go through this kind of information for you. We're going to lay it out for you, give you the facts so you can start thinking about this and making some quality decisions for yourself. And as everybody knows, the older you get, faster time goes. It's just a shocking phenomenon. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why it works that way. My wife and I were just talking about that the other day. I can't believe it's February. I can't believe it's January. I can't believe it's July. I can't believe it's October. I can't believe it's Christmas. It creeps up on us, and it comes thundering through the door faster and faster every year. And so you need to really be thinking about this. Like, what could you do about this? Well, if you had a 3-year trust, which we talk about at the workshop, a 3-year trust is that if you are a veteran or if you're the spouse of a veteran or you're the surviving spouse of a veteran, what ends up happening is there may be a program that could pay you $26,000 a year tax-free to help pay for your care at home. Is that where you'd like to have the care? You bet. I want to be at home. If you have to go over to a memory care unit, it costs you $5,000 a month. If you had $26,000 a year coming in, over $2,000, $2,200 a month, you don't have a $5,000 a month problem. You have a $2,800 a month problem. If you have a couple $1,000s a month coming into Social Security, you don't have a $2,800 a month problem. You have an $800 a month problem. And if you had $100,000 sitting in the bank, you got a lot of money at $800 a month to stretch out over several years to make sure you're taken care of in style. You're safe, you're clean. Yeah, you may have memory issues, but the truth of the matter is that you're being taken care of by professionals. Now, nobody wants to go into one of these facilities. I get it, but the ones that are out here are quite nice if you know which ones to go to. Am I going to get a lot of quality care there? Yes, you are. What if I'm alone, though? What if I don't have my partner with me anymore? My life partner, my spouse, my wife, my husband, I'm alone. Who's going to take care of you? We have a solution for that issue for those of you who are looking down the barrel and are frightened about the fact that your family doesn't live down at the corner at the end of the block, that your family is 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 15 hours away. And as a direct result, how are you going to be taken care of? You may not have any family, or the family that you have is not the level of familial attachment that is going to become a caregiver for you. You don't have a son. You don't have a daughter. You may have a niece or a nephew. You may not even have that. You may have a cousin. Who's going to take care of you, and who's going to take care of you well, and who's going to protect you? We have a solution for you when you come to the workshop. The use of a nurse practitioner who can sit there and be your guardian. That's what we have. And to give you that idea and expose you to that information. So now you can begin the process of saying, you know what, I need to know about this now. And the reason I need to know about this now is if I wait until I am totally debilitated, lying flat on my back, is I don't get to be part of the decision making. I'm a victim here. If I am at home, how am I going to pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? We are going to discuss those kind of solutions and alternatives to you. Some people have decided that long-term care insurance was a good idea for them. They purchased an insurance, but many of them have these mental blocks about long-term care insurance. And as a result, very, very few people in the United States actually have long-term care insurance. And there are some downsides, as it turns out, to long-term care insurance that have occurred that nobody knew was coming. Well, the obvious ones is for those of you that have long-term care insurance policies, the very, very few of you that have actually done that and been paying into these policies for years and years and years, you're being confronted with now is that they have to raise the rates. They have to raise your premium. I have long-term care insurance. I got my letter this year. I had a 100% increase in the premiums. 100%. And by the way, the letter announcing the premium increase also announced, don't expect this to be the last letter like this that you're going to be getting from us. So there's more raises coming. And so that may or may not work out for you. Now, I would say to you, we would go through the analysis for you at the workshop, but I would argue don't give up now. Even if he means that you're going to have to reduce the amount of your benefits, at least you got something coming in. Don't give up now. Don't abandon your policy if you can help it, if you can do it, if you can afford to keep paying. A lot of people are sort of put off by the idea how much the deductible is. Usually it's a 100-day deductible, and so you're talking about $28,000, $30,000 out of pocket before the policy even kicks in. Well, that's a lot better than spending $100,000, $120,000 a year on your care. And yes, you got to pay $30,000 out of pocket. And yes, you've been paying for those premiums all those years, but that does not mean it's not a good idea for you to have long-term care insurance. Mostly because the long-term care insurance is going to be so valuable for you as far as staying at home or living in an assisted living or being in a memory care unit or being in a board and care unit, or in combination with your Medi-Cal benefits if you're in a nursing home. And so you see that these decisions that you made when you were 60 are going to impact you dramatically when you're 80. I know it's a long time. I know it's 20 years, but man, it comes around the corner like a freight train, doesn't it? Ask somebody who's 80 if they thought that the world was exactly the way it was going to be when they were 60. And so the idea here is if you start exposing yourself to these different ideas, you may have a different alternative available. You may want to do asset-based long-term care. And that's an approach that has started to pick up a lot of steam, and we have information from providers for you on that. You may want to think about reverse mortgages. Now, the reverse mortgage industry has changed dramatically over the years. Some people immediately say, I don't want anything to do with that, but I think you owe it to yourself to understand how they work. Then you can say, I don't want it. But until you actually know how they work, and really what we're trying to accomplish for people is to say, listen, there's certain basic pillars of a retirement that we're trying to address for you in terms of giving you information. One, of course, is shelter. I need a place to live for the rest of my life, no matter what. Income. Well, at the very least, you've earned your Social Security by paying into it all those years. And so you're going to get some income in the United States because you paid into the system. You've got your Social Security. Health care. What 80-year-old wants to go out and shop for health insurance? You paid for your first job since January 1st of 1966. You paid into the system. And when you turned 65, you got to participate in this wonderful program called Medicare. Medicare insurance and having choices and getting supplemental policies and being able to design your own program with the help of an insurance professional who can go through all the 40-some different programs that are available to you. Medicare. Medicare is a godsend for seniors, and as a direct result, they live 5-7 years longer than a 70 or 65-year-old did way back in 1965. And so these basic tenets are put together for you, but there's really, really hard to find how you end up funding care in your home. It's very difficult to come up with a funding program for people who need a memory care unit or they want to live in an assisted living or even independent living. Well, there's a veterans program that's available that if you qualify based upon your military service or you are the surviving spouse of a veteran. My mother got benefits for 5 years because my father was in the Army Air Corps. He had died 4 years earlier, and she was picking up checks for $1,200 a month, tax-free. Now, $1,200 a month didn't pay for her care, but it sure helped to make the difference between great and good. And so what I'm trying to say to you is that what makes you powerful in this process is get yourself to a workshop, get information. The more information you have, the more powerful you are. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 422-0404, 422-0404, and they'll make a reservation. We'll set aside free materials for you. Everything will be ready when you get there, and you're going to find out that you had a lot more choices than you even knew about.
Here's elder law attorney Michael McGuire inviting you to the next Elder Answers workshops, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
It's located at the Hampton Inn, conveniently located on the corner of Gerald Ford and Cook, right in the heart of the desert in Palm Desert. You need to pick up the phone and make a reservation in order to reserve your seat, in order to reserve an information package, and to make sure you get a free consultation if you attend. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about how you get to keep your house and still have Medi-Cal pay the $100,000 a year it takes to be in a nursing home. How do you avoid liens legally? How do you keep every last penny of your savings? Is it true that your retirement accounts like your IRAs don't even count? And the answer to that is yes, but you have to find out why. You are permitted to transfer and protect your assets, but you have to do it legally. That's what we're going to be talking about at the seminar. Enforce your rights to get taken care of if you do need long-term care in California. I can't wait to see you and talk about these important issues.
Reserve now for one of the next Elder Answers workshops, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Call 760-422-0404. Workshops take place at the Hampton Inn, Cook and Gerald Ford in Palm Desert. Reserve now at 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404.
This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center, encouraging you to take advantage of a free workshop. And at that workshop, we're going to cover 3 primary areas of interest for you. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to give you handouts, free materials that you can keep as reference materials that'll keep you in good stead and really help you with your family, help you with your planning, help you with the execution of your care, help you deal with an emergency when the time comes. The first thing that we do at the California Elder Law Center is that we participate in the process of estate planning, primarily for our clients and to help them, at least initially in their mind, is to avoid probate. Avoid probate. Probate's a place that you go when you have an asset and the person who owns the asset, whose name is on title to the asset, has passed away, and there's nothing that says where it goes. If it's a life insurance policy, it says where it goes. Why? There's a beneficiary, so the insurance company knows who they're supposed to give the money to. If it's a piece of real estate, if it's your house, it doesn't say anywhere about where it's supposed to go. Now, there are some ways you can do that now with a transfer on death deed, but I will assure you of this. There's a lot can go wrong with something like that, and I'm not trying to scare you off of the idea of doing a transfer on death deed. What I am telling you is that we have had circumstances in our office and over the years that particular device is a poor substitute for estate planning. And I say that because there's so much can go wrong, and it has gone wrong. You're making assumptions when you're using one of those things, and the assumptions don't always work out that way. Now, the estate planning process of making sure the following things are taken care of is critically important. The whole process of estate planning is to make sure you're going through a detailed list, and you don't want to make any mistakes, do you? You want to make sure that you've got this thing covered. And so what is it doing? The estate plan is more than just one document. An estate plan could probably be a 3-year trust. An estate plan could include an advanced health care directive, but you'd want an advanced healthcare directive that covers a lot of ground that the standard ones probably don't. I'm going to give you an example, is that if you have a pacemaker, where in your current advanced healthcare directive have you empowered your agent, the person who's going to make medical decisions for you, to be in a position to reach out to the cardiologist and to turn that pacemaker off? Who is empowered to talk to them? Now, there's so many different technological things happening so fast in the world today that there's issues that could really interrupt your ability to have your agent step in and make decisions for you. A durable power of attorney for financial matters. This is a critically important document, and it's a document that has to be strongly written, has to be very protective, and it has to link into your trust with regards to trustees' powers if we are attempting to access public benefits for long-term care. Because what's going to happen at that juncture is we're going to have to transfer assets. Now, what's the ideal? The ideal for some of you is going to be that you have created what we call a 3-year trust. You want to learn about that when you come to the workshop. The 3-year trust is going to open the door for you to overcome a 3-year delay in you getting your VA benefits. So if you were counting on that $2,200 a month tax-free to help keep you in your living room, you're going to have to wait 3 years if you have to move some money around in order to get qualified. The VA is going to penalize you. Wouldn't it be great if you had done that ahead of time so that when the 3 years are up, you're still reared up on your hind legs doing fine? But 5 years from now, there's some kind of a crisis, something happened, and you slide right into the system and you start getting your money right away. You don't have to wait. People who normally come in looking for VA benefits need their money today. So many of them wish they had come in a year ago or 2 years ago and had started this process then. And everybody agrees if they had used a 3-year trust a couple of 3 years ago, then having that money flowing through the door means they can focus on care. They can focus on who's coming into their home and what kind of services they're giving, and they can focus on the quality of care. They don't have to be terrorized by the cost of the care. They don't have to be subject to the anxiety about dealing with a company that the caregivers don't show up in the morning. And so all these different kind of issues play in, and it always is the same thing as like with a smoke alarm or a seatbelt. It's better to do it ahead of time. If you do it ahead of time, you're going to feel better about it. You're going to understand how this whole system works. You're the one that made the decisions. You're the one that set the thing up. And so when you're doing estate planning, the first thing you're doing is going through the litany of all the different issues that are important to you. Now, some of you like the idea of getting a bargain by somebody who's not an attorney. And the idea is just because you have access to a computer, that means that's good enough. Well, for you, if it's good enough, if your family's treatment when you're not here is good enough, then it is good enough. I can't argue with that. If you don't care about your grandchildren, if you don't care about how your kids' work plans work out, if you don't care about whether or not you're going to get benefits down the road to help pay for the $10,000 a month to be in a nursing home, then good enough is good enough. But this good enough idea is something that once you have been exposed to the information at the workshop, I think you'll find that you're not going to want good enough. You're going to want really, really effective. You're going to want not just an estate plan, which in many respects answers the question of what happens if I die. You want a different question to be answered. The question that you want to be answered is, what happens if I live? What happens if I live? How am I going to come up with this money? How am I going to make sure I don't turn my spouse into a bag lady because I ate up all the family resources because I wanted to stay at home? How do we do that? And even if I'm at home, I don't even know what they're doing to me. I am vulnerable. How am I going to be protected? Who's going to step in and take care of all that kind of stuff? And if I go to the hospital and they give me the bum's rush or they just make a check on a box and I end up losing benefits because I didn't know what my rights are, what happens then? If I go to a rehab center and all of a sudden they're telling me that this is it, you have to get out because of the following reasons, it turns out those reasons are false. That's right. They lie to you. They actually lie to you. It's hard to believe, I know, but that's what they do. And so if that's the case, who's going to protect you during that? What if you're alone? What if you are alone? If a wonderful gentleman came in, he's just about 90-some years old, and he's thinking, I'm going to have to move somewhere over to the coast and be around a relative that, I don't know, it's an in-law anyway, and I don't want to leave my friends. I don't want to leave the desert. I like living out here. I said, well, let's sit down and work through this and see what it is. So he came to a workshop. He got some information, and it began to open up his eyes to what the possibilities were. When we started applying a different perspective to his issue, as it turns out, he doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to move out of the desert. He may want to move into, in this guy's case, he wants to move into independent living. But he's going to need some extra money to do that, and there's a way for him to do that because he's a veteran. He's a veteran. And so as we start to patch this stuff together, we start to come up with a realization that, you know what? There is a way to do this kind of stuff. There's a way to do it. There's a way to get good quality care. And there's a way to earn your benefits that you have paid so dearly for in the past. Don't forget, there's nothing we're talking about you getting in the way of benefits that you haven't paid for. Now, if you're a veteran, you paid for this stuff the hardest way there is. You had the uniform on. You were in harm's way. And as a direct result, these benefits were put together for you. But you know what? The VA would just as soon not have to cough up the money. They would very much like to figure out a way to get out from underneath the obligation that Congress has placed upon the VA is to help you because you were a wartime veteran. And that benefit also accrues to your spouse and your surviving spouse. And so these kinds of issues of pulling all this together is a question of information. If you go into a nursing home, if you need long-term care in a nursing home, you get to keep your house. You get to keep every penny of your life savings. You get to keep your retirement accounts. You get to keep a car. You get to keep all your household goods. And you get to keep your house. Now, a lot of people think that that's not how it works. They think they're going to be stripped bare, or they'll be denied, or they'll have to sell everything off, and as a result, they'll go broke. Well, that's not a particularly pretty picture for an elderly couple. Or they'll be hat in hand begging their kids, "Can you give us some money?" How humiliating! And it's even more humiliating when you find out you didn't have to do that. There was a different way of doing this. You could have protected it. Your kids can figure out how they can protect you throughout this and help you weather this storm so you'll be fine. That's what I said. You'll be fine. You may have actually done something with some planning a few years ago that will just let you sail right through this process. But what you need to have is that education that goes along with avoiding probate and what that means and the mistakes you don't want to make and the affirmative actions you want to take to protect your family. Would you like to protect your grandchildren? Would you like to protect one of your children that's married to somebody that you really don't want to ever have touch the money? Would you like to protect one of your children who may have issues? They may have issues with regards to being able to handle money. They may be on public benefits themselves. They may have an addiction problem. They may need to be protected. Would you like to do that? Do you have a special granddaughter that you would like to set something up for her so that she's never going to be independent, but she is going to need care, and she will want to have some autonomy, and you can do that. You can do that. Do you want to make sure that if something happens to you and it spins out of control, that it's not going to destroy your spouse financially? Do you want to make sure that the time comes that your 3-year trust was already funded and put in place and you're protected and you can move forward knowing that you are now able to take care of business? You can have choices, not drama. You can have quality choices as far as your care and not have the circumstances forced upon you and your family.
Here's elder law attorney Michael McGuire inviting you to the next Elder Answers workshops, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m.
I would like to invite you to our next workshop at the Hampton Inn, which is right on the corner of Cook and Gerald Ford. Make a reservation. so we can set aside some materials for you. We're going to be talking about all the different ways that you can avoid probate. How do you protect your legacy? How do you protect your children? How do you set up processes that will allow a child that's troubled perhaps, or for protecting grandchildren? How does a living trust deliver the promises of not having to absorb huge kinds of court costs and fees, and at the same time give you a really effective way of controlling your estate, protecting your spouse, protecting your family? That's what we talk about. And for everybody who comes to the workshops, don't forget now you get a free consultation with an attorney, an elder law attorney sitting across the desk talking about your issues specifically, and it's all free.
Reserve now for one of the next Elder Answers workshops, Wednesday, March 4th at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Call 760-422-0404. Workshops take place at the Hampton Inn, Cook and Gerald Ford in Palm Desert. Reserve now at 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404.
This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center, elder law attorney, talking to you about stepping up and getting yourself educated. It's free. It's effective. It's accurate. It gives you a forum in which to ask questions. It gives you a place to go later on to sit down and do an analysis. People come to our workshops. They're entitled to a consultation. At the consultation, they bring their papers to us. They bring their financials to us. And we go through a process, and the process is this, is that this is what I have. I'd like to know what I can get. And I'd like to know what I have to do to get it. And I want to know how much it's going to cost me. That seems like a reasonable approach to taking care of an issue that can make such a huge difference in your life, don't you think? Now, the first step in doing this kind of an analysis is for you to come to the workshop and figure out where you fit in the scheme of this. Where do you fit in? And I will tell you where you fit in. You fit in at the very beginning. You're the CEO. You're in charge. Everything is going to flow from you. You are going to be able to stay at home as long as it's physically safe. You are not going to go broke if you have approached this process systematically. And you will not be a burden on your children. And I'm here to tell you, you will not appreciate this maybe at this point, but there will come a day that your children will be so appreciative of you that you actually did not become a burden on them. They will recognize what you did. And I know this because I've been doing this for 25 years, and I hear this from the children is, thank God my dad took care of this. Thank goodness my mother was in here 2-3 years ago, and she set this all up. This has made it so much easier. Thank God we have access to all these wonderful services that you people have put together, and this has made it so much easier for us to get through this. You've taken the anxiety away from us taking care of my mother and my father, or the two of them. And that only came because somebody actually took the time to sit down and, first of all, educate themselves. Listen, I'm a big, firm believer of this. I believe wholeheartedly that you as a consumer are perfectly capable of making these decisions on your own. Nobody needs to tell you what to do. The only impediment to you making good quality decisions is information. Not only do you need accurate information, not only do you need complete information, but you need information presented to you in a way that you can use. You don't need to listen to a bunch of legal mumbo-jumbo. You don't need to listen to a bunch of distorted, weirdo federal and state regulations that you can't read or even understand, even if you have them and you found them and were able to read them. No. What you need is say, hey, explain to me how this works, will you? And we do that. That's what we do. We go through that process at the workshop, and that's the beginning steps of you creating a plan for yourselves and replacing anxiety with information. And we give that to you for free. That has been our mantra since the day we opened up our doors in 1995. That's the way we approach this. We will give everybody who comes to us the information for free. Some people will become clients. That's wonderful. Some people will go somewhere else. That's just fine. Some people will do nothing. That breaks my heart, but that's how they've made that decision, and they're the ones that are going to have to live with it. More accurately, their families are going to have to live with that. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes I tell people I feel like a guy in the lifeboat going around the Titanic, and I row up to people that are floating in the water, treading water. I tell them, get in the boat, and they say, well, give me a minute to think about it, will you? And I tell them, oh, geez, I hope you're floating the next time I come around, but I got to go. Because there's just too many people out here that are looking to be in the boat. There's too many people that really want to put this issue to bed. Because it's scary, and it's overwhelming. And they want somebody they can count on. They want somebody that's done this before. They want somebody that's professional, that's trained. Because this is dead bang serious stuff. This is going to impact the quality of your life. This is going to make your life either systematically better than it possibly could have dreamt it was going to be, or it's going to turn you and your family's lives into a nightmare because you weren't ready. You didn't do anything, and it's so much harder to do it after the fact in crisis than it would have been to take care of it ahead of time. And when you sit there and you analyze, is this something I should do now or I should not do now? I don't know anybody who's honest in that analysis that doesn't come to the conclusion, why wouldn't I do it now? Pick up the phone and call 760-422-0404. 422-0404. Make a reservation. Come to the workshop. It's not just me that'll be talking. There's other people that have other services that are there to help give you information. Nobody's selling anything. They're giving you information. They're giving you written materials so that you can start building a cocoon of safety around yourself and your family and your loved ones and get on with your life instead of fretting about what's going to happen next. So what happens at that workshop? Well, we tell you about how trust work. We tell you about what a will does. We tell you about what a durable power of attorney is for. We tell you about an advanced health care directive. And before you raise your hand and say, I already have one, we're going to tell you about why you need to think about making sure yours is going to work in the world of public benefits. Why is that so important? So many people have come to me and said, well, I already have a trust, or I already have a durable power of attorney, but it's a big fail when it comes to accessing public benefits. And it's too late to change the stuff. Or even worse, they don't have anything at all. And so that's why you come, to find out, is there a reason for me to be doing this? Why am I even thinking about this? And once you get past that point, it becomes so clear to every single person in the United States, age 65 on up, about why you are so much better off having some kind of a plan in place to not just get the money to pay for your care, but to make sure you're getting the care, to make sure you're getting quality of care. That's what's really necessary. That's what's so critically important in this process. And I hope sincerely that you'll take advantage of being able to come to a free workshop. You know, the workshop covers a lot of very technical information. It shares a lot of insights as far as how these government agencies work. Yes, there are some twists and turns that can really turn to your advantage if you only knew that those twists and turns existed and when you were supposed to turn left or turn right. Believe me, there's a lot of that. But what we actually do is make this easy for you to understand. This is not to prove that I know what I'm talking about. This is to help you learn so that you can feel comfortable that you've got some kind of an idea about what you should be doing. You need facts. If you have facts, you can make good quality decisions for yourself. I'm a very, very big believer in that. People that come to us as clients don't come to us because we talked them into it. They come to us as clients because they've decided that they want to take care of something. So what I'm telling you is that if you come to the workshop, 422-0404, 422-0404, what you're going to find is a warm, friendly, fun environment that you can ask questions, person sitting next to you. Sometimes you get engaged in a conversation with them and you find there's a lot of commonality sometimes in this kind of stuff. That you were able to get information that you had no idea that would come from an attorney, because it really represents a holistic approach to the quality of your care, and that the quality of your care becomes the focus of your plan, that the preserving of the money is not the end all that you may have thought it was. What is most important is how is the quality of your care going to be? Are you going to be treated with dignity? Are you going to be treated with safely? Are you going to have the amenities that the person in the next room is not going to be able to access because they didn't take care of business? Are you going to feel better knowing that if something befalls your mother, your father, that it's taken care of? That you, your brother, your sister, everybody's ready to roll? Of course you are. Of course you are. This stuff is complicated, and it's absolutely dreadful and so intensely anxiety-causing if you are trying to crash through this whole system and you're doing it on the fly. That's not the way you live your lives. That's not the way you bought a house. That's not the way you educate your children. That's not how you put money in a jar every month until you had enough money to go down and buy yourself a washer and dryer to get a car. That's not how you lived your lives. You didn't do it like that. Well, this is part of your life. The end of your life is part of your life. And we want it to be a wonderful experience. We don't want it to be anxiety-filled, distressful, disastrous, frightening, or injurious. We don't want you getting hurt. We don't want you getting bed sores. We don't want you not eating. We don't want you getting dehydrated. We don't want you being treated miserably by administrators or staff in a facility. We don't want that to happen. But we can't get there without you. And you can't make sure you're in control of your destiny unless you at least begin the process of educating yourself. And that's our pleasure. That's something we take a lot of pride in. That's something that everybody who comes to our workshops is, at least to my face, coming up and telling me, thank you so much. Thank you for giving this. Thank you for spending your time to show us how this works. It really, really has been time well spent. Get a friend, get a neighbor, get your daughter, get your son, get your husband. Get yourself over to the workshop and find out why your life can be infinitely better, far less expensive, and the quality of your care will be cut in stone for when the time comes. This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center saying thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making Elder Answers the successful show that it is. And I look forward to seeing you at the next workshop and certainly talking to you again next week.
The preceding program was a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
A child struggling to speak. It's often a developmental disability that can leave a child frustrated and isolated. Life-changing treatment by professional speech therapists is available at no cost to the family. It's at the Stan and Bobby Gold Right Care Childhood Language Center in Palm Desert. We need your donation. On your phone or computer, search Gold Right Care. That's Gold, R-I-T-E, Care. From the Palm Springs Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Give a child the gift of speech.